Have you ever heard the story about the tiny ant and the clever crow? It's a tale that's been told for generations, but today we're going to look at it in a whole new light. This isn't just a simple children's story. It's a powerful lesson about kindness, gratitude, and how even the smallest actions can have the biggest consequences. So grab a comfy seat and let's journey into a world where an ant and a crow cross paths in the most unexpected way. It was a scorching hot summer day. The sun beat down relentlessly, and the air was thick and heavy. A tiny ant, working hard since sunrise, was starting to feel the effects of the heat. She was incredibly thirsty, her little body aching for just a drop of water. With all her remaining strength, she made her way towards a nearby stream. The stream was flowing faster than usual, swollen by recent rains. As she leaned over a smooth, slippery stone to take a sip, a sudden gust of wind knocked her off balance. She tumbled headfirst into the rushing water. The current was strong, pulling her under and tossing her around. "Help! Help!" she cried, but her voice was just a tiny squeak, lost in the sound of the gurgling water. She struggled with all her might, but it was no use. The stream was too powerful. She was beginning to lose hope, thinking this was the end of her journey. Just as she was about to give up, something incredible happened. High up in a tree overlooking the stream, a crow was perched on a branch. He had seen the whole thing. He watched the tiny ant struggling for her life and felt a pang of sympathy. He knew he had to do something. The crow was known for being clever, and his mind raced to find a solution. He looked around and spotted a large leaf on the branch next to him. That was it, an idea sparked. With a quick peck, he plucked the leaf from the tree. Holding it carefully in his beak, he flew over the spot where the ant was struggling. He swooped down low and gently dropped the leaf right onto the water, just a tiny bit upstream from the ant. The leaf floated like a little green boat. The current carried it directly to the exhausted ant. With her last ounce of strength, she grabbed onto the leaf and pulled herself aboard. It was her very own lifeboat. The leaf boat drifted with the current and eventually bumped against the bank of the stream. The ant, soaking wet but safe, scrambled onto the dry land. She looked up at the tree where the crow was still perched. Thank you, kind crow," she shouted, her voice filled with immense gratitude. "You saved my life. I will never forget your kindness. If there is ever anything I can do to repay you, I will." The crow simply nodded his head, gave a soft caw, and then flew off, content that he had done a good deed. The ant watched him go, a promise sealed in her heart. She knew she owed her life to that crow, and she would be forever grateful. Life in the meadow returned to its usual rhythm. The seasons changed. The hot summer gave way to a cool autumn, and the ant continued her busy life, always remembering the crow's act of kindness. She often looked up at the sky, hoping to catch a glimpse of her savior, but she never saw him. Still, the memory of her promise remained as strong as ever. One sunny afternoon, a few weeks later, the ant was foraging for food near a patch of tall grass. Suddenly, she saw something that made her stop in her tracks. There, in a small clearing, was a hunter. He was creeping silently, a large net in his hands. He wasn't looking at the ground. His eyes were fixed on the branches of a large oak tree. The ant followed his gaze and her heart sank. There, perched on a branch and completely unaware of the danger, was the very same crow who had saved her life. The hunter was getting closer. He raised his net, preparing to throw it and trap the unsuspecting bird. The ant knew she had to act fast. She didn't have wings to fly up and warn him, and her voice was too small to be heard from so far away. What could she possibly do? The promise she made echoed in her mind. If there is ever anything I can do to repay you, I will. This was her chance. Thinking quickly, the little ant scurried through the grass as fast as her legs could carry her. She ran straight towards the hunter. He was so focused on the crow that he didn't notice the tiny creature approaching his foot. Just as he was about to cast his net, the ant crawled onto his bare ankle and gave him the hardest, sharpest bite she could manage. Ouch, the hunter yelled in surprise and pain. He dropped the net and instinctively bent down to swat at his ankle. The sudden shout and commotion startled the crow. He looked down and saw the hunter, the net on the ground, and a tiny ant scurrying away from the man's foot. He instantly understood what had happened. With a loud, thankful caw, the crow spread his wings and flew away, soaring high into the safety of the sky. He was safe, all thanks to the brave little ant. The hunter, grumbling and rubbing his ankle, picked up his net and walked away, defeated. The ant watched him go, her heart pounding with adrenaline and relief. She had done it. She had repaid her debt. The mighty crow had been saved by the tiny ant. So what's the real takeaway from this story? It's a beautiful reminder that no act of kindness, no matter how small it seems, is ever wasted. The crow could have easily ignored the ant. After all, what was a tiny ant to a big, clever crow? But he chose to show compassion. And in return, when he was in his moment of greatest need, that same tiny ant saved his life. It shows us that size and strength don't determine your worth or your ability to make a difference. Courage and gratitude are far more powerful. Think about it in our own lives. A simple smile, a helping hand, a kind word, these things might seem small to us, but they can mean the world to someone else. You never know how your small act of goodness might ripple out and come back to you in the most unexpected ways. The story of the ant and the crow teaches us to be kind to everyone because we are all connected. We all have the power to be a hero in someone else's story, just like the crow was for the ant and the ant was for the crow. It's a timeless lesson in gratitude, courage, and the powerful, unbreakable bond of kindness. Thank you so much for watching and sharing this story with me today. If this too resonated with you, hit that like button and share it with someone who might need a little reminder of the power of kindness. And don't forget to subscribe for more stories that inspire and make us think. Until next time, remember to look for opportunities to be kind. You never know whose life you might change.